What's going on, everybody? It's Jack here with Suburban Tactical Nation. Today I got a new Kizer to share with you, but they have a problem because the 1970s called and they want their fabrics back. But don't go anywhere because this is actually a pretty good knife. So what we got here on this fine nostalgic specimen here is the Kizer horn. You would think they broke the mold on this thing, but don't let it fool you because this is a pretty good knife. Let's go ahead and jump into the specs. So an overall length of 7.60 inches. We've got a blade length of 3.19 inches. We've got a cutting edge of 3.0 inches. Got a thickness on the blade of 0.118. Got a handle thickness of 0.47. Got a closed length of 4.375 inches. And a weight coming in right around 3.24 ounces, and that's on my scales. Not a bad carry for weight. So before we get into the anatomy on this thing, I just want to talk about something that I've never seen featured on a knife ever. And maybe I missed out, but what they've added and incorporated onto this blade is a removable flipper tab, and they've done it quite well, and it works quite well. So we'll get to that at the end. So we're looking at a flat grind on this with a satin finish, nice cutout going on, and a little bit something different with the blade there where they didn't take out all the steel all the way through the hole. They left some right there. It looks really nice actually. And you still have plenty of room to flick out the blade. We'll get to that later when we look at the rest of it. So we're looking at the liner lock, nice thick liners on it. But the coolest part about this is they did do some milling on it. You can see right down in there. But they are full size recessed liners. That is really cool. Usually you see them about halfway, and that's right about where they normally cut off, but they went all the way on this, and they've done just about everything right on the hardware also. You got your standard pivot, your removable tab. You can see the screw right down in there. Deep carry pocket clip. Tip up right or left. They've left you a little lanyard hole. Pocket clip is pretty nice. It is a full deep carry. I like what they've done, the direction they're going with the clip on this. Hopefully they keep pushing that into the other models, like the beg lighter, for instance. So this does go well in the pocket, easy to get in and out. As far as hardware goes, you've got T8 on the pivot, T8 on the screws for the scales, but the actual pocket clip screws are T6, and so is the flipper tab. So there's a lot to like about this knife. There's a lot of good and there's a little bit of bad, but we'll go through the good stuff first. The number one thing about this is the ergonomics. You've got some nice contouring on the scales. You've got a lot of real estate on the handle. A really generous finger choil there. You've also got the flipper tab for a guard if you need it. And then the number one sell for me on this was the removable flipper tab. And I'll take this off in just a second and you can see just how much you can get on this. Plus the blade shape is just incredible. Although it's not the most aesthetically pleasing looking blade when you first look at it, but it's very useful. And with this Warren Cliff style shaped blade, you can get a lot done with it, especially with that little tip, and you got a little bit of curvature in the blade there. So it really works out and going to be beneficial to several different areas where you want to use this as utility in the kitchen, or just to have for just about anything. It's beautifully done on the grind on this too. It's really hard to beat the price point on the Vanguard series knives, but this just kicks it up to a whole new level because this has a user written all over it. So let's get that flipper tab out and show you what we're working with here. Get your T6 on there. There we go. Now you can see the construction on this is simple, and it fits perfectly right back up in there when you want to reassemble it back. So you can see here, it's a really simple removable part, and it's made to fit right up against the blade, so there's not a whole lot of moving around to have to worry about to fit it exactly right in there. You just place it in the shaped part and pop it in, and you've got a small little screw there with just a few threads on it. That's all it takes to lock it in. And where you get that usable choil there, you can get your finger on there, but if you got big fat fingers, you're not going to get a whole lot under there, but it's just enough to give you a little extra. So I can put my tip right down in there, and it feels really good, and you got all that handle to work with. The pocket clip kind of lets you know it's there, but honestly you're not going to be doing super hard tasks with this to begin with anyway. But man, I could see this being used a lot in the kitchen, just about any kind of utility you can think of. It's going to handle a lot of it, and you've got that super thin edge on this, so it's just a great all-around design. I really like this. Let's go over a lockup on this thing. Kizer has some of the best detent out there in this price range. They lock up super firm, no blade play, I mean zero, zilch, up or down. Nice liner, nice and thick, and it definitely stays centered no matter what you throw at it. So really the only thing that's going against this knife is the lack of variation of availability, what they have for it. You're stuck with this one color and the satin blade. It'd be kind of neat to see it in a stone wash finish, or maybe even a coated blade with a different scale option or scale color. Now Kizer's used this particular micarta on a lot of their newer releases with the nicer steels on them, and that's all fine and dandy, but it would make it so much better to have another option than just this micarta. That's just my opinion, but that's really the only thing I can throw against it. So overall, this is a fantastic knife. I really like this thing. It's going to get a lot of pocket time. I definitely recommend it. $62 I think is what it's going for online right now, so that's a pretty damn good value considering you're getting Bowler N690 for your steel. You're going to be able to use this in multiple applications, and it's going to cut, it's going to slice, it's going to go all night long like Lionel Richie, man. It's a good blade. Azo's designs with the Vanguard series just gets me every time, hook, line, and sinker, and mainly because they're usually full-size knives, not over the top large, but usable, excellent carry knives, and they're made to actually perform. It is a good stainless type of steel, and it's going to cut, and you can maintain this blade. It doesn't take too much. It's good stuff. If you haven't handled any of the Vanguard series stuff by Azo, you got to check it out. This is a great knife. I'm going to carry it a lot. I'm going to do a follow-up video with this also, and I'm going to get it in the kitchen to see what it can do without that tab on there, and see what we can do with some food prep just for fun. That's going to do it for this knife, guys. The Kizer Horn. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. George, you gotta kill that sucker.